So, hi everyone. Um, we're going to take a navigation or we're going to take a class about the anatomy of the trachea. What do you know about the trachea? What if you ask the question, can you really explain? Oh, we're going to solve the problems here so you can rest assured. But don't forget, as you watch this video and it's interesting, you kindly subscribe, you like and comment to this YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's go. So the trachea is a flexible fibrocartilaginous tube. As you can see, it is when you go for practically when you take an examination of the trachea, it is flexible but it's fibrocartilaginous. It is a flexible fibrocartilaginous tube that forms the lower part of the respiratory tract. This is the lower part. The upper part begins from here and upwards. So it forms the lower part, or it forms the beginning of the lower part of the respiratory tract. However, the trachea, its lumen is being kept patent by around 16 to 26 shaped rings of hyaline cartilage. Like its lumen is being kept open by 16 to 26 shaped rings of hyaline cartilage. So let's see the extent of the trachea, or what we call the location. So the trachea, it extends directly from the lower border of the cricoid cartilage. The one that is being highlighted in purple is the cricoid cartilage, but the trachea begins from the lower border of it. It begins from the lower border of the cricoid cartilage, that is at the level of the C6, the 60th cervical vertebra, that is within the neck. And it moves downwards where it terminates, that is at the level of the 4th thoracic vertebra. This is the 4th thoracic vertebra, that is where it terminates, but its lower border. So don't you forget, this is a hint that the level of the lower border of the 4th thoracic vertebra corresponds to the level of the sternal angle of Lewis. So that's where it ends. So meaning that if it begins within at the level of the 60th cervical vertebra, that is within the cervical regions, meaning that it has two parts, the cervical part and the thoracic part. Thank you. Well, let us see the dimensions. The dimensions of the trachea is about 10 to 12 centimeters in length. If you try to measure it, it won't exceed 10 to 12. And mind you, the lumen of the trachea is smaller in a living person than in a cadaver. So when you see the cadaver, it's going to be of a bigger lumen. But when you see a living person, in case of any accident and you were to examine, the lumen will be kind of smaller. Okay, so let's just go through the course. So this is the course of the trachea. So the trachea is a continuation of the larynx, which is part of the upper part of the respiratory tract. So it is a continuation of the larynx at the level of the 60th cervical vertebra, where it begins from the lower border of the cricoid cartilage, and it is about 5 centimeters above the jugular notch or the suprasternal notch. We shall take an example. We shall navigate through the manubrium sternæ. Then it enters the thoracic cavity via the thoracic inlet, but it is within the midline. Let me show you as we go through, because I think it will be a bit better. Yeah. So I was saying the trachea is a continuation of the larynx, yeah, and it forms the lower part of the respiratory tract, the beginning or the commencement. So it begins at the lower border of the cricoid cartilage, that is the cricoid cartilage lower border, corresponding to the level of the C6 cervical vertebra, the 60th cervical vertebra within the neck, and it is about 5 centimeters above the suprasternal notch. This is the suprasternal notch. So the distance from here up to here is of about 5 centimeters. It enters the thoracic cavity. This is the thoracic cavity via the thoracic inlet. but it enters through the midline or in the middle. Then afterwards, it moves downwards and backwards behind the manubrium sternum. This is the manubrium sternum. Then it terminates at the level of the fourth thoracic vertebra, where it bifurcates into the right and left principal bronchus. So let me show the bifurcation. That is where the bifurcation is. It is easily seen here. This is the T4 vertebra, where it bifurcates into the right and the left principal bronchus, and that level corresponds to the level of the sternal angle. So that is all about the trachea. If you like this video, my dear, don't forget to subscribe, to like and comment. More is coming up, and bye bye next time.